Let me ask you something. What if the most powerful muscle-building window of your entire day isn't at the gym, isn't during your morning walk, and has absolutely nothing to do with how hard you push yourself during the day? What if it's happening, or supposed to be happening, while you're completely unconscious, lying in your bed, doing nothing at all? Because here's what researchers have started to understand in the last decade, and what most men over 60 are never told. Your body has a natural rebuilding cycle that kicks in every single night. While you sleep, your muscles are supposed to be repairing, growing stronger, and recovering from the demands of daily life. But for men in their 60s and beyond, something goes wrong. The machinery is still there, the potential is still there, but the raw materials, the fuel your body desperately needs to do the work, simply aren't showing up. And if those materials aren't there when your body needs them most, it doesn't wait. It improvises. And the way it improvises is by quietly breaking down the very muscle tissue you've been working so hard to maintain. That's a process called muscle protein breakdown. And for millions of men over 60, it's happening every single night without them ever knowing it. Not because they're lazy, not because they're old, but because nobody told them what to eat and when to eat it, to stop it from happening. Tonight, that changes. If you're someone who's serious about staying strong, staying independent, and feeling like yourself as the years go on, take a quick second to like this video and subscribe to Golden Age Strength. Every single week we put out practical, science-backed health content built specifically for men over 50. No fluff, no fads, just what actually works. Hit that subscribe button now, and let's get into it. Let me paint a picture you might recognize. You wake up in the morning, swing your legs off the side of the bed, and the first thing that greets you is stiffness. Your knees feel like they've been packed with sand overnight. Getting up takes more effort than it used to. You shuffle to the bathroom, look in the mirror, and somewhere in the back of your mind you think, when did this happen? When did standing up start feeling like work? That's not just aging. That's a symptom of something specific. That's your body telling you it didn't have what it needed last night to do its job, and if you're experiencing it, you're not alone. Most men over 60 wake up this way, but most men over 60 also have no idea that what they eat in the last hour or two before bed has an enormous impact on what happens inside their body while they sleep. Here's where most people get it wrong, and I want you to hear this clearly because it matters. There's a popular idea that eating before bed is bad for you, that it causes weight gain, that your body just stores everything as fat while you sleep, that you should cut off food intake hours before bedtime and let your body fast through the night. For some goals, in some people, some of that has merit. But for men over 60 who are trying to hold on to muscle mass and stay functional and strong, following that advice without understanding the full picture can actually accelerate muscle loss. It's not your fault if you've believed this. That message is everywhere. But the science tells a more nuanced story, and once you understand it, everything changes. Here's what's really happening inside your body after age 60. Your muscle cells become what researchers call anabolic resistant. Think of it like this. Imagine your muscles are a construction crew, and protein is their building material. When you were young, even a small delivery of building material would get the crew working immediately. They'd grab it, start building, and the results were quick and noticeable. But after 60, something changes in the way the crew responds to deliveries. The signal that says, "Start building," becomes weaker. The crew needs more material delivered at the right time in the right way, just to produce the same result. If the delivery is too small, or it comes at the wrong time, the crew doesn't build anything. Worse, they start dismantling existing structures just to find materials they need for basic maintenance. That's why protein timing matters so much more for older men than it does for younger guys. And that's why what you eat before bed, and specifically the type of protein and the nutrients that support it, can mean the difference between waking up a little stronger and a little more recovered, versus waking up a little weaker and a little stiffer every single morning. The good news? You have more control over this than you think. And it doesn't require supplements or expensive powders or complicated routines. It comes down to 7 specific foods. Real foods. Foods you can find at any grocery store. Foods that work with your body's natural overnight repair process, to help rebuild muscle while you sleep. I call this the overnight strength protocol. 7 foods, each one chosen for a specific reason, each one delivering something your body needs during the most important recovery window of your day. Stay with me through all 7, because the way they work together is just as important as each one individually. But first, let's understand the science at the core of this, because once you understand why this works, you'll never go back to ignoring your bedtime nutrition again. Your body produces most of its human growth hormone, HGH, during deep sleep. This hormone is one of the primary signals that tells your muscles to repair and grow. And here's something most men don't know. HGH production drops significantly after age 60. Not to zero, but enough that the natural rebuilding process becomes far less efficient. This is one of the central reasons why men over 60 lose muscle mass at a rate that can reach 1 to 2% per year if they're not actively countering it. That might sound small, but over 5 or 10 years, it adds up to a measurable loss of strength, balance, and functional ability. But here's where it gets interesting. While you can't simply restore HGH levels to what they were at 30, you can create the conditions during sleep that allow your body to make the most of whatever growth hormone it does produce. And food, specifically the right food at the right time, is one of the most powerful tools available to do exactly that. Now, the first food in the overnight strength protocol is something that's been eaten by cultures around the world for centuries, and it's quietly becoming one of the most studied proteins in sports nutrition science. It's cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is rich in a protein called casein, and casein is different from almost every other protein you can eat. Most proteins digest quickly. They're broken down and absorbed within 2 to 3 hours. Casein is different because it forms a gel in your stomach, slowing digestion dramatically. The result is a slow, steady release of amino acids into your bloodstream that can last anywhere from 5 to 7 hours, while you're sleeping, while your body is in its deepest repair mode. A constant, sustained drip of building material being delivered to your muscles all through the night. Think of it like the difference between a campfire and a long-burning log. Whey protein is a campfire, bright, fast, and then it's out. Casein is that dense hardwood log that burns slow and steady through the cold night, keeping the warmth going long after everyone's gone to sleep. Research published in the journal Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise found that consuming casein protein before sleep significantly improved muscle protein synthesis overnight in older adults compared to a placebo. The effect wasn't small, it was meaningful. And the source of that casein in the study? Foods like cottage cheese. Now, the myth around cottage cheese is that it's just diet food, something people eat when they're trying to lose weight and don't enjoy eating. But let me reframe that for you. A half cup of low-fat cottage cheese contains roughly 14 grams of high-quality, slow-digesting protein. It's low in sugar, easy to digest, and it can be eaten plain or mixed with a small amount of fruit or a drizzle of honey. More importantly, it's one of the single best things a man over 60 can eat within an hour of going to bed. If you're someone who experiences muscle soreness, stiffness in the morning, or feels like your body just isn't recovering the way it used to, start here. A small bowl of cottage cheese before bed. That's it. That one change, done consistently, can shift the entire trajectory of what happens to your muscles while you sleep. But that's only part of the story. Because protein alone, even great slow-digesting protein, can only do so much on its own. Here's what most people never realize about muscle building, especially after 60. Protein synthesis, the process of building new muscle tissue, requires more than amino acids. It requires energy. It requires the right hormonal environment. And it requires minerals that act as cofactors in the entire biological cascade. Without them, even perfect protein delivery falls short. This is why the second food in the overnight strength protocol isn't a protein at all. It's kiwi fruit. I know what you're thinking. Kiwi? That little green fuzzy thing? Bear with me, because this one surprised even the researchers who studied it. A study from Taipei Medical University found that adults who consumed 2 kiwi fruits an hour before bedtime fell asleep faster, stayed asleep longer, and experienced measurably better sleep quality compared to those who didn't. And I want you to stop for a moment and think about why that matters so much for men over 60 who are trying to preserve muscle. Remember what we said about growth hormone? It's released during deep sleep, specifically during the slow-wave deep sleep stages. If your sleep is fragmented, if you're waking up at 2 a.m., lying there for an hour, or cycling through light sleep all night, you're missing the exact windows when your body is supposed to be doing most of its repair work. Poor sleep doesn't just leave you tired. It leaves your muscles under-recovered and your hormonal repair signals weaker. Kiwi contains a natural compound called serotonin, which plays a direct role in sleep regulation. It also contains high levels of vitamin C and antioxidants that combat overnight inflammation. And inflammation, especially the chronic low-grade kind that becomes more common after 60, is one of the primary enemies of muscle recovery. Inflammation is like rust in the machinery. It slows everything down, makes repair slower and less efficient, and contributes to the stiffness and soreness that so many men over 60 experience every morning. 2 kiwi fruits before bed. That's not a complicated intervention, but the downstream effects on sleep quality, inflammation, and therefore muscle recovery are surprisingly significant. Now, here's where things become even more interesting. Because the third food in the overnight strength protocol addresses one of the most common and most under-recognized nutrient deficiencies in men over 60. Studies suggest that more than 40% of older American adults don't get enough of this from their diet. And its absence doesn't just limit muscle repair, it directly weakens the hormonal signals that drive it. That nutrient is magnesium. And the food? Pumpkin seeds. Magnesium is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in the human body. But for our purposes tonight, there are 3 that matter most. First, magnesium plays a key role in testosterone production. Testosterone isn't just a sex hormone, it's one of the primary anabolic signals that tells your muscles to grow and maintain themselves. After 60, testosterone levels naturally decline. But research published in the Journal of Exercise Physiology found that adequate magnesium levels were associated with higher free testosterone in men, particularly those who were physically active.